The orientation and menu delivery. Once you've seated your guests, you can do the orientation. The orientation is where you help to make your guests more familiar with the dining area, introduce yourself and your role, and give a brief orientation of the menu. That is, how the dining experience works. In this lesson, we will be covering the greeting, orientation of the dining area, presenting the menus, the menu orientation, offering aperitifs and water, giving a time frame for returning for the menu recommendation, and exiting from the table. Let's take a closer look at these 7 steps. The greeting. If you weren't the one to greet the guest at the door, you will greet them now once they are seated. Position yourself somewhere where the guests can see you comfortably and introduce yourself. For example, "Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Welcome to the Grace Inn breakfast room. My name is Frederick, and I will be your waiter this morning." Next, let's look at the orientation of the dining area. On the way to the guest's table, or once seated, point out key features of the dining area, such as the buffet table, the restrooms, and the smoking area. This helps the guest feel comfortable in their new space. Now let's talk about delivering the menu. Once your guests are seated comfortably, present each guest with a menu with open body language. Another great detail is to open the menu to the correct page, such as the breakfast menu or starters. It is lazy to simply give your guest a closed menu. At this stage, you should also present the host with the wine list in the same way. Now let's look at the menu orientation. Now that each of your guests have their menus, you can give a brief menu orientation. This is where you will tell your guests about the service style and procedure of how the evening will unfold. For instance, at your establishment, you may have buffet-style service, a set menu, or an à la carte style of service. At this stage, you should also inform your guests if anything on the menu is out of stock. It is very important to do it now. If you wait until your guests are ready to order, they may have chosen that item and will be very disappointed to find out only after they have set their heart on it. Now comes the time to offer your guests aperitifs and water. Depending on the style of service at your establishment, you may offer the guest water and an aperitif at this stage. If they would like an aperitif, show them the beverage menu, or recommend an aperitif. Make sure to bring the guests these drinks within 5 minutes. From the time you seat the guest until the time you offer an aperitif should take no longer than 2 minutes. Once you have taken their drinks and water order, inform the guests that you will return within a certain time to give your menu recommendation. This will give them an idea of when you will return and will also let them know that they can start to look at the menu to make their selection. Then it is up to you to return in the given time and make your recommendation. Lastly, exiting from the table. There will be many occasions on which you will leave or exit the table. The reason it is highlighted here is because your body language when leaving the table is important. Don't just turn your back on your guests and leave. Rather take a step back, then turn. To ensure you don't fall over your feet, step back with the foot that is opposite to the direction you will be going, like this. So to summarize, the orientation steps are as follows: the greeting, the orientation of the dining area, presenting the menus, the menu orientation, offering an aperitif and still or sparkling water, giving a time for which you will return to give the menu recommendation, and exiting from the table. Well done!